Hello, welcome to the world's okayest cooking channel where I attempt and fail and sometimes succeed at making delicious recipes from around the world. At the end of this video, I'll tell you whether or not I actually succeeded at cooking these Balinese dishes. I'll also give you a few tips of what to do and what not to do before we get started making the best Balinese food you've ever had, possibly or possibly not. Be sure you hit that subscribe button. My favorite dishes to eat while I was in Bali was pork satay and mee goreng, so that's what I'll be making today. To start off, I'm just gonna make a Balinese paste. I'm pretty sure this is secretly cooking cocaine. My friend Kadek, who was in my previous video, taught me to make this paste, and it's used in a lot of Balinese cooking. It's like the Bali version of MSG. You can technically make these dishes without it, but I'd strongly suggest making this paste. It's made with lots of fresh ingredients, and it just makes everything you put in it taste so much better. So this paste consists of shallots, garlic, galangal, ginger, turmeric. If you can find fresh turmeric, that's even better. Red chili peppers, and black and white peppercorns. So we're gonna use this paste to make the Satay Babi and the mee goreng. And it'll just add a nice Balinese flavor. In Bali, there's a specific taste that almost defines the food, and this paste, I believe, is what gives it that flavor. If you're not someone who lives in Indonesia, galangal may be a bit difficult to find unless you visit an international market. Galangal is native to Indonesia, but can also be found in other parts of Asia. It has like a spicy and fresh taste similar to ginger. If you can't find it, I suggest maybe using extra ginger and maybe slightly more peppers to try to get a similar taste. So roughly chop up all these ingredients and put them into your food chopping device. For you, that's probably a blender or a food processor. But for me, that will be my low budget, slightly ghetto version of a mortar and pestle. If you saw my last video, you'll remember that we grinded the paste down with a mortar and pestle. Well, I was able to obtain a wooden version of a mortar and pestle, and it's not the same. In fact, this is significantly worse, and chopping these ingredients made me question all of my life choices. Once you have the paste and it's relatively smooth, we're gonna move on to making something pretty important to Balinese food, and that is sambal, which is basically Balinese hot sauce. When you go to a Balinese restaurant, this is almost always on the table. This will also be used for the mee goreng and the satay. First, dice 5 cloves of garlic and thinly slice up 7 shallots and 4 to 5 chili. 5 if you're feeling extra spicy. And roughly chop 3 tomatoes. Add 1/2 cup of oil to a pan. Once the oil is heated, add the onions. Let that cook for about 3 to 4 minutes and then add some garlic. After about 20 seconds, now you're gonna add your red peppers. Afterwards, we're now gonna add our chopped tomatoes and just continuously stir that and mash those ingredients together until the tomatoes become soft. Now we're gonna add salt and sugar. Give that a mix and remove this from the heat. And just let it cool. Once it's kind of cooled a little bit, we're gonna add a little bit of lime juice and the sambal is complete. So we're gonna put that aside. Now we're gonna make the marinade for the Babi satay. Babi is pork and satay is a street food you will pretty much see throughout the island. You can use chicken, beef, you could probably even make a vegetarian version of this with some tofu or just some vegetables. Cooking is about creativity and trying new things. So yeah, just get jiggy with it. Unless Will Smith is still canceled. In that case, have it your way, I guess. I, however, will be using pork tenderloin. A little less than 1/2 pound. We're just gonna set that aside while we make the marinade. This marinade includes 1/4 cup of Kecap Manis. Kecap Manis is sweet soy sauce. It has a thick, sticky consistency like syrup. 1/4 cup of soy sauce, 5 shallots, 3 chili peppers, 4 cloves of garlic, 2 tablespoons of sambal, 2 teaspoons of Balinese paste, and 2 teaspoons of sugar. Usually in Bali, they use palm sugar, which is a type of coconut sugar, but I didn't have any palm sugar on hand, so I used regular sugar. Mix well. Now add 1/2 of the marinade to the pork. The other 1/2 we're gonna save for later. If you accidentally add the entire thing, like some individual who will remain nameless, then you will need to remake about 1/2 of the portion of the marinade. So we will save 1/2 for later. Let the pork rest in the fridge for at least 2 hours to just really soak up all that amazing flavor. While that's resting, we're gonna soak some skewers in water. There's probably gonna be people in the comments who are like, she didn't soak her skewers because she didn't show it on camera. And to those people, I will say actually, for your information, you would be absolutely correct. I forgot. Am I allowed to forget things? Do I call you out when you forget where you put your keys or your toothbrush or your wallet? No, I don't. So let me forget those things in peace. But this step is especially necessary if you're cooking this on the grill because it will prevent the skewers from basically burning up. So you should probably remember in those cases. But while my skewers are hypothetically soaking, I'm gonna prepare my vegetables for the mee goreng. I have 8 shallots sliced, 4 cloves of garlic. By the way, if you can't eat acidic food, this is probably not a recipe that will agree with your stomach. I'm talking to you, mom. I will call your doctor and snitch on you, respectfully. 1 cup of carrots, 1 cup of cabbage, a cup of pak choy, 2 green onion stalks, and 1 cup of bean sprouts. Chop those up real nice. Now I will make the sauce for the mee goreng. 1/4 cup of Kecap Manis, 3 tablespoons of soy sauce, 2 tablespoons of sambal, 2 teaspoons of sugar, 2 tablespoons of oyster sauce, 2 teaspoons of Balinese paste, and 2 teaspoons of sesame oil. Set that aside for now. Now it is cooking time. Skewer your pork bites and heat up some coconut oil on medium-high heat. Once heated, place the skewers in the pan. If your skewers don't fit in the pan, just kind of cut them shorter. And let those babies cook until they are browned on all sides. Now remove those from the pan, and in the same pan, add the satay sauce that you had left over. Let that cook for a couple of minutes until it's turned into a sticky glaze, and add the skewers back into the pan and coat them with the glaze. That look good, don't it? Now on to the noodles. We're gonna use about 200 grams of noodles. I tried this recipe with several different types of noodles. Egg noodles were definitely the best. I then tried a type of Japanese rice noodles, which was also pretty good. I then tried the worst of them all, which was instant ramen noodles. Don't be like me. First off, I've never been a fan of instant ramen noodles. There's just something about them that screams, we got food at the house, you know? I have nothing against instant ramen. If you eat instant ramen as an adult, you know that's your business. I am openly judging you for your sense of taste, but for this particular recipe, let's not do that. Let's be better human beings and make better life decisions. The major problem with using this for a stir fry is the way it interacts with the sauce. I can't exactly explain why it was so bad, just know it was bad, real bad. Cook your noodles, and while they cook, we'll make the remaining part of this dish. In a pan, add some oil and then your shallots, and add some garlic, and saute that for another 20 seconds. Now we're gonna add all of our freshly sliced vegetables. Getting sort of kind of healthy over here. Mix that well. By this time, your noodles should be cooked through. Don't let them cook all the way through, slightly more than al dente, and then transfer them. If your noodles are done sooner than expected, drain the water and coat the noodles with a little bit of sesame oil to keep them from sticking. My noodles were done around the same time, so I'm just gonna add them straight to the pan. I'll also add the mee goreng sauce and stir it, hey, stir it. Your noodles way too white, you need to stir it. It should be like a darkish brownish color when finished. Okay, and voila, you have an authentic-ish Balinese dish. Hey, that rhymed. I tried this dish several times while in Bali, so personally, I think it turned out quite similar to the real thing. I'd say it was pretty successful. Besides the first time when I cooked it with the ramen noodles, that was horrible. But this specific time, I think it went well. But please, if you try this dish, let me know how it turns out. I would love to know, leave it in the comments. And you know, like and subscribe to my channel, bruh. Don't be like those those non-subscribers over there. Anyways, see you next week where I will be in Thailand. Bye.